All right, cool. Well, thanks for tuning in and watching this video. I'm Steven over at Bloomerang. I got my new friend Karen joining us. Karen, how's it going? You doing okay?
Doing as well as can be expected.
Yeah, you're
It's
hanging in there.
crazy time.
I think you're kind of doing better than most from what I've seen. It's why I wanted to talk to you. You were real high on my list. Karen, just to kind of start out, would you mind just telling us about yourself and the organization and all the cool stuff that you all are doing there?
Sure thing. So I am Director of Development at an organization called the Jenkins Center in Davidson, North Carolina. We're about 20 miles north of Charlotte. And we also serve two neighboring towns, Cornelius and Huntersville, and we comprise what's known as the Lake Norman area. And for the most part, it's a highly educated place, fairly affluent, but we do have these pockets of folks who are struggling. They're around the poverty line, and those are the folks we help. We help about 2,600 people a year.
Wow, very cool.
So we are the only nonprofit in this area that provides wraparound human services. So we have a free medical clinic, a free dental clinic. We do after-school academics. We have adult education, some workforce development, and we also have a food pantry. So we do all of that.
Yeah, and like so many others, I'm assuming that a lot of that has been diminished over the second half of March. What's been the impact on not just the fundraising but also the services over in sort of your sphere of influence?
Right. So we're, like many states, North Carolina is under a stay-at-home order, and our food pantry is considered essential services. So we had to shut down our medical clinic and our dental clinic, which is also largely, both are largely run by volunteers, volunteer healthcare providers. And so that all just shut down right off the bat. Our social workers who are in-house are all working from home. They're staying in touch with their folks by telephone. And really the only thing that we are operating as a service right now has to do with food. We're a food pantry, and so we are operating that. We are also serving as a distribution point for our local school system, which is providing school meals for free to children up to age 18 every day, a breakfast and a lunch. So we've got a drive-through coming up. Folks can come up and drive through and pick that up. But we also are doing deliveries because there's a lot of folks saying that they don't want to leave their homes.
Wow. Yeah. So you've got all that going on, which needs to be communicated to. And then on top of that, I saw it looked like you had an event planned in March or early April. Is that
Didn't
right?
everyone?
Yeah, all those spring events. It just seems like the timing. But I thought I could kind of pull up that sort of first email because we were talking before, and you were kind of doing the normal thing through early March, and then I thought really quickly and well done pivoted and communicated all those things. So the decision to kind of postpone the event and tell people what's going on, can you kind of walk through what your sort of mentality and strategy was with all those things?
Sure. As soon as we started hearing that, events of over 50 people or more were going to have to be canceled, we just knew that this was something we were going to have to shelve. And our board is incredibly supportive and providing great leadership. And so they were like, "Yep, let's cancel it. Let's do what we have to do."
Yep.
And several members of our leadership team, our executive director, our director of operations, they were here during the 2008 financial crisis. So we had the benefit of them recognizing what some huge shifts were going to mean for the folks that we serve. And so immediately they said, we need to start working in a different way. And so we jumped on it right away. Yeah,
I can tell with not just with the timing, but looking through that first email you sent, you just laid it out, no fluff, no jargon. Hey, this is what we're doing. And it was clear that there was a pivot, right? Because that sort of the medical stuff that sort of went away, but then you really spun up the food need, which is something that you could still do in sort of a hygienic way, I assume.
Yes.
What was the response to this first email? I know it's been a couple of weeks. We're recording this in April, but if you can recall, what was sort of the response from not just the community, but also maybe the service recipients?
So we sent this email out on March the 13th, and it was sort of like, everybody, this is here. This is what we're doing. And we did receive probably about 20 to 25 emails back from our constituents that said, so glad you're doing this. Thank you so much. Keep it up. The people we serve typically are not in our constituent base. They're not donors. Some of them don't have email. Yeah. So we would hear from them anecdotally. They would talk to their social workers and just say, thank you for what you're doing. But it wasn't necessarily in response to any communications that we were providing online, for instance.
Yep. Well, I love this email. I know a lot of folks are sending emails like this, but the kind of the main reason I wanted to talk to you was you didn't stop there. A couple of days later, you were bold, and I think it paid off in your case and would for so many. You set up this new fund, right? This is a totally new sort of fundraising campaign that you probably wouldn't have done normally. It wasn't part of your normal March cadence, I assume. Talk to me about the decision to say, okay, we're communicating on the services, but let's go a step further and ask for money because we need help. And I think a lot of folks are feeling, maybe we shouldn't ask for money. Is now a good time? Can you kind of walk me through that thought process as well?
Sure thing. So it goes back to the fact that some of our leadership had been here back in 2008 when things got really hairy for the people we serve. And I think because they had that presence of mind, they said, this is going to get bad and we need to stay on top of it right now. And primarily we need to send out an email and start raising awareness for a critical assistance fund. This was not in our budget. It doesn't cover any operations. It's strictly a fund that we can access when one of our clients comes to us and says, I'm a couple $100 short on my rent, or I need some gas money. I'm lucky I still have a job, but I don't have the money to put in my gas tank. And so we needed a fund to be able to access to help those folks. Many of our folks are undocumented also, and so they're not going to get any government assistance.
Right.
And so we knew that wasn't an avenue for them. So we sent out the initial email on March 13th, the one that just said, here's what we're doing. And that's part of what I'm calling our confidence campaign. It's to show people we've got this. We've been around for 20 years. We have a great reputation in our community. And so we want to be the leaders. We wanted to demonstrate ourselves as leaders. So we sent that on the 13th, just a level set. Here's where we are. Here's what we're doing. And then 4 days later, we were talking in-house and the rumors were coming down. News was trickling out slowly out of Raleigh that the governor was going to be putting some sort of stay-at-home order in effect. And the first thing that was done was that he shut down restaurant dining rooms. And so a lot of our folks are in food service and janitorial. And so when the restaurant dining rooms were shut down, a lot of our restaurants went to drive-through or pickup.
Right.
But they still had to lay off a whole lot of their staff.
Right.
And that was the impetus. So that order came in, I think 1 o'clock on the 17th. And we immediately got to work and said, we need to create this. We need to launch it. We launched it at 5 o'clock on the 17th, a separate letter that said this one that you mentioned. With the initial feedback we got from clients who were calling us and saying, oh my gosh, I never imagined this would happen. Here's what's going to happen to us. And so we launched this at 5 o'clock. And I think within the first hour, we had something like 35 gifts, totaling $10,000.
And now you're getting close to like 100K? Is that what you said?
We are getting there. So this morning, April 6th, we sent out a follow-up note.
Yeah, I saw that. We scheduled this ahead of time. So I thought that was cool to see that in your database. Yeah, you said you've gotten quite a few gifts from that just today alone, right?
We did. And the purpose of this one was a second confidence boost, saying, all right, this has happened, but here's how we're pivoting and here's how we are remaining nimble and still serving our folks. Okay. And, but at the bottom, we had, a little little plug for if you want to help contribute to the fund, if you want to join our standby volunteers. And we got response to both this morning. I think within the first hour and a half, we received 11 gifts totaling nearly $5,000.
Wow. Well, I mean, all credit to you for having the wherewithal to get on it quickly, and have maybe boldness isn't the right word, but the boldness to ask for help. Because one of the reasons I want to make these videos is a lot of people I feel like are a little sheepish about maybe asking for money right now. What would you say to someone who's maybe even now in early April, kind of on the fence of, should we be asking? Is it the right time? What would you say to maybe a colleague who's feeling that?
What we're finding is that people want to help.
Yeah.
We had 75 people sign up for our new volunteers list.
Wow.
They want to do something, and I'll email them back and say, thanks. Great. What else can we do? Can we bring something over to the food pantry? Can I make a donation? And so I think folks want to do something. And even when our volunteers come and serve in our food pantry or at the school distribution, the meal distribution, they want to talk. They want that sort of connection. And I've been calling donors, and they're happy to pick up the phone, and they want to talk about it and tell us a little bit about their families. So I would say this is a great time to reach out to people, and don't be afraid to do it.
I love it. And I really appreciate what you said about the board support, because every conversation I've had like this, if folks see the other videos, that's been a big kind of angle of this is the board supports them. They say, do it, we got to do something. And wow, I mean, you all are awesome. I know you're new to the org and new to Bloomerang. This is probably not how you envisioned, doing your first quarter in new software and a new role, but great job, because you all are making it happen. So, thanks for doing it.
I think it's a testament to how user-friendly Bloomerang is.
Oh, thanks.
That we've been able just to roll with it and, crank these things out. And it takes, 20 minutes, and we set it out there, and it's working, and it's beautiful. And, we're grateful to have this capability now.
Well, we're grateful for you, and I hope your bosses and the board recognizes all your good work. So, and thanks for doing this. You've been really generous with your time. We've been emailing, but keep it up is all I can say. I don't really have any advice. You're giving the advice, not me, but you all are doing great. So keep going.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks,
We're
Karen.
all in it together.
That's right. Yeah, we'll get through it. All right, I'm gonna stop.